So section 6.5 is focused on the regulation of enzyme activity in order to control the metabolism. So if you think about all the chemical reactions going on in your body, there would be chaos if the cell's metabolic pathways were not regulated. And so a cell regulates its metabolic pathways by switching on or off genes that encode specific enzymes, or it can also regulate the activity of enzymes themselves. So one way that enzymes are regulated is by allosteric regulation. Whenever you see the word allosteric, think of shape. So this is basically where there's some type of molecule that binds to a protein in one area and it changes the shape, aka the structure of the protein, the enzyme, and that causes a change in the enzyme's function in another area. So a lot of times with enzymes you'll see the change of the active site. Most enzymes that are allosterically regulated are made of polypeptide subunits, so lots of small pieces, and the enzymes have an active and inactive form. There can be a binding of a molecule that's the activator for that enzyme, which helps stabilize the active form and make it more active, or an inhibitor could bind and stabilize the inactive form of an enzyme. So you can see here we have this enzyme and the activator binds to a particular area, and now it's a better active form, but it's made up of these 4 subunits. We also have the inactive form where the activator binds, or the inhibitor binds, and it keeps this in the inactive form. We also have cooperativity, and this is another type of allosteric or shape-changing regulation that can speed up enzyme activity. So this is where one substrate comes and primes the enzyme to be more ready for additional substrates. And this is allosteric because it changes the shape in the active site. So you can see here we have the inactive form of the enzyme. It's kind of this odd shape. But this first substrate can bind, and once that happens, it changes the enzyme into this fully active form where more substrates can bind as well. Another type of regulation is known as feedback inhibition, and this is where the end product of a metabolic pathway shuts down the pathway. This prevents the cell from wasting chemical resources by making things that it doesn't need. So basically with feedback inhibition, when you make enough of a product, that presence of that product shuts down the pathway until it gets used up. So you can see here, there's an available active site on this enzyme, and threonine can bind to that enzyme at that active site. Once that enzyme has bound, it catalyzes this reaction, and that produces this intermediate A product. So a lot of times when we have metabolic activity, we produce a whole bunch of reactions. It's like a chain reaction. So now this is going to be a product that's going to activate enzyme 2, and that's going to produce this product, and that's going to need enzyme 3, and we're going to get product C, product D, so on and so on, until the final product is this protein isoleucine, or this amino acid. As that isoleucine builds up and gets to be more and more and more, it's going to bind to the allosteric site on this enzyme. This is where the feedback inhibition happens, because you can see once the isoleucine binds, the shape of the active site changes, and so this threonine can't bind to it anymore. But as your body or your cell uses that isoleucine, eventually it's not going to stay on this allosteric site anymore. It's going to get used up by the cell. And once that isoleucine falls off, the active site is now available to take another threonine and start the reaction again. But when we get enough of this end product, that causes the reaction to stop. There are also lots of cell organelles that help bring order to metabolic pathways. There are enzymes that act as structural components of the cell membranes, which help things move in and out. And then in eukaryotic cells, there's also a lot of enzymes which we know are in specific organelles. For example, lysosomes have digestive enzymes that help break down things the cell no longer needs. Cellular respiration requires a lot of enzymes found in the mitochondria. And so those enzymes are found in specific organelles that are specific to that particular job. And that's all for section 6.5.